The mango project in Mali was initiated by CBI in order to help exporters meet the requirements of the European markets. These requirements, and especially the Europe GAP certification requested by the major retailers, is posing a serious obstacle to those exporters.
Le certificat EuroGAP au départ, EuroGAP était un phénomène nouveau pour les pays ACP, surtout pour les pays africains, tels que le Mali.
Europe GAP, or Europe Good Agricultural Practice, is a standard that was introduced by the major supermarket chains in Europe. The objective of this standard is to assure a safe product in the supermarkets. It is the consumer health that has to be protected, and for this the suppliers have to follow the standard of Europe GAP.
We are now at Plaza, which means in French, périmètre logistique pour l'aménagement en zone agricole. This is an infrastructure post-crop of conditioning and cooling of mangoes.
Several different activities have been undertaken in Mali. The first thing we had to do was to get a clear picture of how the sector operated. We carried out a mission to Mali to find out who the major players are in terms of exporters, but also the supporting institutions, and of course also to get insight in the activities of other donor organizations.
Major constraints which hamper the export development of mangoes in Mali can be categorized into three levels. The first one is at the production level, the second one at infrastructure level, and the third one market information and marketing level. About the production level, so there is no interlinkages between all the players, Mali's players which are into the value chain. From the exporter to exporters, there is no interprofessional linkages, and by not having access to finance, the producers cannot invest into new okra, for example.
Mangoes exported from Mali have traditionally been air freighted. Because of the fact that only a few airliners service Bamako, the Malian capital, this means that the volume of mangoes that can be exported is limited. In 2006, the Netherlands Embassy financed the construction of a cool house and distribution center in the Malian capital. Together, the Malian exporters established a task force to manage the pack house. This was supported by the Dutch Royal Institute for the Tropics. Later on, Bakker placed a quality control manager in the pack house, and eventually the first container was shipped to the Netherlands in 2007.
We became involved in the Malian mango export in 2005 when somebody from the CBI and the key IT, together with a Malian exporter of mangoes, came to visit us and showed us the plans they had from the Dutch embassy in Mali to build a new pack house for especially for mangoes. At that moment we were 4 Albert Heijn trying to fill the calendar a year round with mangoes, and West Africa was still a weak part in this chain because their certifications was not in place, and also the quality that they were shipping were not really matching our standards.
It soon became clear that the implementation of Europe GAP requirements would be a major obstacle. However, in close collaboration with USAID, we were able to provide the companies with a lot of technical assistance in meeting these requirements. Through the know-how and experience of local and international experts, eventually 4 companies were able to successfully pass the Europe Gap audit.
Le CBI avait organisé un voyage en Hollande et qui nous a permis de voir les différents aspects du marché, surtout les différents canaux commerciaux. Non seulement nous avons vu comment nos produits sont traités de l'autre côté, comment les importateurs de l'autre côté se comportent, comment nos produits aussi se comportent, quelles sont les exigences vraiment qui leur sont imposées de l'autre côté. Et à partir de là maintenant, nous nous sommes référés sur la façon de faire de nos importateurs pour améliorer notre façon de faire.
CBI, for example, assisted in helping exporters for certification, introducing Europe Gap certification with in conjunction with USAID. And on the other hand, CBI organized the EU market training for the exporters, while ITC, for example, using the 3 associations of exporters along with the government agency, facilitating the participation of exporters to Fruit Logistica trade fair in Germany since 2006. And ITC disseminated also information on market price and on packaging, on standard and so forth.
Big event which is called Fruit Logistica in Berlin. That was an occasion to meet our traditional customers, to meet potential new customers, and it is really a big event, very fruitful for Malian exporters.
Because of the larger volumes that can now be exported from Mali, the Malian exporters could also go in search of new clients. At Fruit Logistica, the Malian exporters, supported by CBI and the International Trade Center, found new clients and are now delivering to new markets.
Our contribution to this project is, for example, in 2006 we paid our first visit to Mali. We decided then to send one of our floor managers from one of our packing stations in South Africa to Mali to help them starting up the whole process. So he was there during the first season that we took some mangoes in. That was 2006. In 2007 we made again a visit. That time we decided to make firm contracts with the different exporters and pay them in advance, so that they could prepare themselves very well with growers and buy the mangoes in advance, make sure that they had the mangoes. We sent an agronomist from our Peruvian exporter for mangoes to Mali, so that he could help the farmers and he could also make an analysis.
This man came with his knowledge. He has visited for 3 days orchards. He took photos and he gave a lot of advice that we are following up to now.
What we also did was last year we sent, in combination with Albert Heijn, we sent one of our trucks. The reason we sent the truck with the chassis was to move the containers from the pack house to the port. The reason behind that is that the transport cost, the inland freight that shipping agencies or shipping lines are charging is astronomical. It's up to €4,000, whereas we figured out we could do it for half the price or even less, and that would save up to about €2,000 per transport, meaning about 50 cents per box.
We are importing a lot of mangoes from all over the world. In springtime in Holland, the mangoes come from Mali, and we would like to extend our business a lot. We would like to buy much more mangoes from the best quality from Mali. Therefore, we introduced 5 years ago this project together with Plaza.
The process inside the Plaza is the following one. First, reception of the fruit coming from the orchards. And it's at this place that Bureau Veritas, which is a well-known organization, independent organization, checks the right for the exporter to go further or to have his fruit rejected for lack of quality, matureness, etc.
The role of Ahold in this case is very important in that sense that the consumer would like to buy very good mangoes and we have to offer it. We should source as much as mangoes as possible from West Africa. We sat down together with the government and the companies together, and in the supply chain together we decided to make this project a success, to have the right quality at the right time to the consumers in spring to the Albert Heijn stores.
We see the future quite bright. If we look at the last years, the progress that has been made is quite good. We started in 2006 with a trial of 2 containers. That was before the plaza was finished. That was rather risky because the circumstances were not ideal, and we learned a lot because everything that could go wrong went wrong. We then made a plan for 4 containers in 2007. 1 container is about 5,200 boxes, equivalent of about 20 tons of mangoes. Then in 2008 we were shipping 24 containers, and in 2009 we are planning to bring in about 55 containers.
The development of export of mango in the last 5 years can be measured by numbers. Numbers are there, they do speak by themselves. From about 3,000 tons in 2005 exported to a single market in Europe, Mali is able now to export to different African countries outside the Western sub-region and to about 5 European countries. So in 2008, for example, the export figure was about 12,900 tons, and the provisional for 2009 for this campaign is about 15,000 tons. Can you imagine the implication that this have on all the stakeholders in Mali involved throughout the value chain? Additional income for all of them, and it means a lot in a country like Mali, where, for example, by average, each family responsible here is to feed about 6%. So this is
the project in Mali has taught us a number of lessons. First of all, it is important to have a strong counterpart in the country. They know the sector, they know the exporters. For each country, a specific approach must be chosen. The situation in Mali is not the same as it is in Kenya or in Senegal. And it is important to identify as soon as possible projects by other development agencies so that we can work together and combine our efforts. No single agency can work in the whole chain. We have to identify our own strong points and work together with organizations that have their strengths in other fields.
A lot of companies, especially NGOs, underestimate the available time that companies have, private companies, to be involved in these kinds of projects, because it's a very it costs a lot of time, energy and money to follow this whole practice from A to Z, and which is also very important, is it takes a lot of patience from everybody, and patience is very scarce, and especially in private companies it doesn't pay off. So I hope that these kind of companies will eventually have more understanding for that. And in our case, which is also a very important point, is the fact that Albert Heijn, which is our biggest client, was supporting this project in mangoes heavily, also in the person of Marie Anzignao, which is working for Ahold in South Africa. Without their support, I think we would not have been able to bring this to the very end.
The sales of mango are very important, and we see the past years strong growing sales in mangoes. And the best tasteful mangoes are coming from West Africa, from Mali. And in that moment, in the window that they are available, it is spring in Holland, and that is exactly the time that all the consumers love to eat very juicy, very tasteful, very sustainable mangoes from Mali.